Our seventh TechCast today. We bring you the most pertinent topics with movers and shakers in the world of technology, engineering, and academia. Today's guest is Dr. Ashfaq Khokhar, professor and of Palmer Department Chair of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Iowa State University. Assalamu alaikum, Ashfaq.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
So thank you very much for taking the time. हम काफ़ी अरसे से कोशिश कर रहे थे कि आपको लाया जाए और आपसे बात की जाए। सो टू बिगिन विद, सबसे पहले ये बताइए अपनी ज़िंदगी के बारे में कुछ बताइए कि आप योर फॉर्मेटिव ईयर्स और शुरू में कैसे पढ़ाई वगैरह एंड लिटिल बिट अबाउट योर फैमिली।
Okay. First of all, Vikas, thank you so much. It is indeed a pleasure आपके साथ ज्वाइन करना और इस particular effort को I really appreciate that you are bringing in folks like me and talking about our backgrounds. So I had a very, you can say, humble beginning in the sense that born in a very small town. You go from Lahore to Gujranwala. There's a small town very well known for basmati rice. It's called Khamoki. And when I was growing up in Khamoki, it was maybe 150,000 folks back in early 70s, late 60s. Now I think it must be over 1 million people town, but it is known for basmati rice. Most of the basmati rice that is exported are at least traded is in mandis like Khamoki. So both my maternal and paternal families were in rice dealership and rice shelling business. So I was born in Khamoki. I'm a middle of 10 siblings. So I'm in the middle forgotten one. So
you're the median.
Yes, exactly. I did schooling up to 10th grade in Khamoki, and then I came to Lahore. I did my FSc in Government College Lahore, and then I went to UET and I did my undergrad in electrical engineering. And of course, we were together at the same time at UET Lahore. Family background is that both my parents were coming from business background families, so they both were denied education. My mom was denied education because they were pre-partition. There were no Muslim-owned schools in that particular small town. And after 5th grade, she was asked to just not go to school. And then my father was the eldest child of the family. And my grandfather had a very thriving business. At pre-partition, he was in partnership with a Hindu partner on a shelling plant. So he asked my dad to just come back during his FA studies, and my father was very unhappy. So I would say that both the parents, when we were growing up, they never talked about business in the family. And they made sure that each and every one of us was pursuing education. And the standard was set by my elder siblings. Although I would say I'm the least talented of all. But my sister, the eldest sister, even in those times, she from that small town, she topped the district in board exams. My next brother, he was also the board topper. Then 2 other siblings were also board positions. And so my turn came, and I told my mom that don't worry, you want all of your male kids to go to Government College Lahore. I will go to Government College Lahore. Whether I'm the last one or the first one, it doesn't matter. And same thing with engineering also, But Alhamdulillah, I would say कि अल्लाह ताला का बहुत शुक्र है, बहुत करम है from that background. We grew up, our elder siblings set the standard for us, and then we all excelled. And I can tell you, among all of my 10 siblings, no one has left behind. We are um, we are three PhDs,
MashaAllah.
three medical doctors, two diplomats, and the elder sister is in education, was in education. So आई थिंक ये अल्लाह ताला का ख़ास करम ही है कि अल्लाह ताला ने मेरे पेरेंट्स को ये इस्ताद दी और हमें इस काबिल बनाया. वगरना एवरी ऑल पेरेंट्स डू देयर बेस्ट and our success, I think I'll owe to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all his blessings.
This is a great story. And हम 4 साल साथ रहे, सारी उम्र बात करते रहे, मुझे ये सारी चीजें नहीं पता, which is fantastic. So दो चीजें मैं करूँ, एक तो मैं एडवर्टाइज करूंगा.
Yes.
कामुकी की आपने बात की, चावलों की बात की. हमारा एक और क्लास फेलो, तो अब
Yes.
दो लोग कामुकी हैं. जो दूसरा हमारा क्लास फेलो है उसका नाम है इमरान. ही रन जीब्रा ब्रांड, जो कि
Yes.
अमेरिका में जो लोग रहते हैं वो जीब्रा के चावल उन्होंने जरूर खाए होंगे, और अगर नहीं खाए तो प्लीज खाएं. इट्स सम ऑफ द बेस्ट राइस दैट यू फाइंड. ही इज आल्सो फ्रॉम कामुकी एंड डज द सेम थिंग दैट अशफाक्स फैमिली apparently did it for multiple generations. So that's great. So एक तो मैंने एडवर्टाइजमेंट दे दी, non paid commercial.
Yes.
Second part is for a family, mashallah, 10 बच्चे, and then the parents who are in business do not talk about business and drive the kids to study, and then the accomplishment out of that is a fantastic tale. बहुत जबरदस्त, माशाल्लाह. अच्छा, तो अब आपने ये सारा कुछ किया, आप गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज गए, उसके बाद आप यूईटी आ गए. यूईटी का एक्सपीरियंस बताइए, हाउ वाज दैट?
So UET was again वही बात थी कि the condition of the parents were you have to go to the highest merit engineering discipline. And at that time, electrical engineering and civil engineering were just taking turns. One was on the top, the other.
Yes.
Anyway, my interest grew in electrical engineering because in from the get-go, I was interested in fixing things, fixing electronics, and so got into university. And I think that's where the spark really started for higher education. First couple of years, I was just like as usual, everybody else, just coming in, taking the courses. But I would say in the third year, that's where I started getting more serious about, getting deeper into engineering, particularly electrical engineering. And then I chose as you're in the final year, I chose digital systems as the option, and that by de facto that discipline became computer engineering soon after our graduation. So computer, I would say, somewhat I was trained in computer engineering, and I think our professors like Dr. Noor Sheikh, Dr. Shahid Bukhari, Dr. Ashraf Iqbal, Dr. Salim, these were the people who really invested a lot of time into grooming our studies and lighting that fire beneath us to go and do excel in different pursuits of academics. And I would say one of the things that really helped me was I don't know if Vikas, that we had this electronics competition, the electronics fair we used to have every year.
Right.
And we used to build products, we used to test, we used to showcase.
Yes.
And I remember in my third year, I built almost like I would say it must be 14 foot by 4 foot kind of a large digital clock that was it really intense my interest into doing hands-on things. So I think I would say I was very blessed to have a very, very competitive class. You know how the cutthroat competition was, and you and all the other classmates made me excel, I would say. When in the US, you know, when you go and apply for an admission into undergrad, the the folks at the admission are looking not for just not necessarily for perfect GPA. They are looking for, when you were given the competition, how did you shine in that competition? And I think I would say that I was given the competition by the folks of like Waqas Shamim Khan and other folks, and I had to rise up, and I did my best, and Alhamdulillah, from there on, there was nothing to look back and just keep moving forward.
Very good. This is excellent. Yes. So now you've graduated,
Yep.
and did you then work in Lahore in Pakistan, or how did your journey to USA come up?
Yes. So soon after, even before, just before even we got our final exam, I had the chance to interview at NESPAC.
Okay.
And I got a job at NESPAC, and I joined soon after our final exams. I worked there as a computer engineer. So NESPAC at that time were just introducing computer into their business flows. And particularly, they had a project from USAID on building mapping technologies for Pakistan's electrical infrastructure. So
Okay.
they had surveys that were doing the survey of where the transformer is, where the pole is, what line, and so on and so forth. And previously, they would build those maps using draftsmen. But doing that for whole Pakistan, the project would take maybe multiple years. So NESPAC proposed to USAID to build in homegrown software for doing those digital maps. So I was a member of two-member team that we developed that software for them. One a very good colleague of our Fakhar Lodi and myself. We built that software for them, and in that software there were some components of um, embedded systems, like we have to interact with the devices. That means we have to interface with the devices, plotters and mappers and so on and so forth, and then also develop the software, drawing software also. And I think that really prepared me very well for my subsequent career. So I was there for only 1 year. Soon after I joined NESPAC with this, um, um, God bless the finance minister at that particular time, this S&T scholarship scheme came, and I was right at the right place at the right time. I applied for that scholarship. There was exams, and I remember still, um, in the exam there were some questions, and they happened to be from the IEEE computer magazine that came out just a month before the exam. And I happened to stumble across that, I think, through our electronic society and our American consulate. Um, so I happened to go through that magazine and read it. And when the exam came, it seems like we were reading the same things. And so it went very well. I got selected. I came to the US. I did my so I got into computer engineering at multiple schools. I just immediately said yes to the first admission I got, uh, and it was from Syracuse University.
Hmm.
So I got into computer engineering at Syracuse University, and I still remember that soon after I said yes to Syracuse and got my visa stamped. Um, Before leaving, I got admission at Cornell.
Hmm.
And now I was asking the ministry to let me go to Cornell. They said, no, we
No.
have already sanctioned. You are going to go to Syracuse. If you want to change, you can change it afterwards. And that reminds me of a very famous poem by Robert Frost, The
Hmm.
Road Not Taken.
Road not taken. Yes.
So every time you make a decision that defines the next segment that you take. And I think somehow I was destined to be. So at Syracuse, I got introduced to uh, computer architectures and computer vision that that lit my interest into this area. And then I did not go to Cornell. I went to from there I went to Columbia, and from Columbia I went to USC, Southern California. Columbia was a very short stay, about 2 semesters. My advisor quit academia and opened
Oh.
up his own company on Wall Street at that particular time, writing business forecasting softwares.
Hmm.
And
You did not want to do that.
no, I was because I
Focused
had
on, yeah,
scholarship. I focused
yeah,
on PhD.
yes,
So
yes.
then this very well-known professor at USC, his name is Victor Prasanna.
Hmm.
When I applied, he approached me and said, I would be willing to offer you an assistantship if you would come. I just did not think twice, and I went to USC, got my PhD, and it was a wonderful journey throughout the academics at Syracuse, Columbia, and USC. And then I graduated with my thesis was at that particular time in early 90s was on object recognition and parallel computing.
Hmm.
So you can say the AI, we were talking about AI at that particular time, which is
Without
now,
calling it as such.
yes.
Yes.
Uh, so AI was called, pattern recognition,
Neural
object
networks.
recognition. So you can say that prepared me a kind of a dual concentration, one on the computer side of hardware,
Mhm.
and the other concentration on the computer vision and image processing side.
Mhm.
And that really helped me also in the later on in my career is that I could, since I took so many courses in both the threads, that I was able to, pick and choose topics of my interest um, in my later part of career. So soon after graduation, I joined Purdue as my first job, as it was a visiting assistant professor position. For 2 years, I was at Purdue in electrical engineering, 50% electrical engineering, 50% in computer science.
Hmm.
And then after 2 years, I got a tenure track job at the University of Delaware.
Okay.
That's where I had my first um, success in terms of getting funding from National Science Foundation. So National Science Foundation has a very prestigious award. It's called NSF Career.
Hmm.
It is is it is a very competitive award, and that at Delaware I got that award, and that basically opened up so many doors afterwards. Um, um, it also allowed me to overcome some of the immigration problems because uh, we all came on the S&T scholarship. We all came on J1 visas. We had to go back to Pakistan. So NSF Career Award allowed NSF to sponsor a waiver, and
Hmm.
that really helped in continuing my career here in the U.S.
So let me
Uh,
ask one question. So
yes.
this is important for the young people to know. So what entails that award? What does it take for a young professor um, to get that award? What does that mean?
So the previous name of this award before that year was the first year it was called NSF Career, but
Okay.
previous year it was called um, Presidential Young Investigator Award, or there were multiple different
Whatever.
names.
Hmm.
What it means is that you have to propose to the funding agency a 5-year kind of a plan, research plan
Hmm.
that and also the academic plan of how you are going to build your career in academia based on the research that you are proposing. So
Okay.
it's a far looking, and it is a single PI, no other collaborators,
Yeah.
and you have to lay out completely
Vision.
as to how you're going to build your career.
Yes.
So you have to lay out enough research problems over for 5 years. You have to lay out how you're going to link those research problems to your classroom, and so you have to give that. And I think um, uh, the main thing in any funded projects from federal government agencies here in the U.S. is that you have to be proposing something that is going to take the state of the art to a level which is going to be significant investment. Plus, it is also of interest to some stakeholders in the industry, in the federal government, and other places. So, therefore, you have to be you have to do um, you have to do your homework in the sense whatever you're proposing, whether you are qualified to do that work. And then second is whatever you're proposing is indeed going to add significant to the existing state of the art. And I think um, if I remember correctly, my at that particular time, um, multi-threaded concept was just coming online
Mm.
in the sense of people were just talking about it. There were no architectures yet built for that.
Mm.
So my proposal was how to do parallel computing in a multi-threaded architectures, and how to divide existing computations into these threads and so on. So now everything is automated, but it is based on our algorithms that we designed at that particular time, that now we see, compilers already had those components in there. But that's what my proposal was, and that's what I built my career on.
Excellent. Excellent. So you got this award. The immigration thing got fast tracked.
Yep,
Now you're still in Delaware. Blue Hens is what it
yep,
is.
yep, yep.
It's like one of the great names in American academia. Okay, then what happens?
So in 2000, I joined Delaware in 95. In 2000, I switched to University of Illinois Chicago. And the reason was that at that time I had gotten married, I had one child, and my wife was also of a professional background. She was an anesthesiologist from back home, and she wanted to pursue her career also. And we were looking at places where there would be more opportunity for a dual career, professionals. So and I think I can say my NSF Career Award was a major attraction
Hmm.
uh, for anybody who was looking for to hire young faculty at that particular time. So I had offers from Penn State. I have offered from University of Chicago. I had offered from a few other places too, but I wanted to go into to a bigger city, more medical schools, and Chicago is very well known for a huge medical district. So UIC also promised that they will help in placing my wife into some opportunities for her career. So we chose. I came to UIC, um, but before I came, I had already gotten my tenure at Delaware.
Hmm.
So I became associate professor the same year that I moved.
Hmm.
And so in American academia, generally, when you have gotten a tenure at a similar um, R1 university, you are granted tenure if you move, you granted tenure at the other university.
Hmm.
So I got tenured offer of associate professor at UIC. So we moved to UIC, and I worked there for about 13 years. I got through UIC, um, I got multiple other, research awards in terms of best paper awards, and awards from Department of Homeland Security, awards from National um, Institute of Health, and awards from U.S. Army. So they were all looking into the kind of works that we were doing. Um, so um, I think that's where my career really flourished. I became director of graduate education there. Also, I got elected into IEEE fellow at UIC, and so the moment I got into director of graduate education, I started getting invitations to apply for department chairs because now I'm into administration also a little bit. So I I entertained a couple of those invitations, and I got an offer to become department chair of electrical and computer engineering at IIT Chicago, which is again one of the very well-known engineering schools in the US. So I joined there as a department chair. Uh, I served there as the chair and professor for 3.5 years. And then the opportunity at Iowa State came. So Iowa State is a land grant school. It's a very large school. IIT Chicago was a small private school, and so I saw an opportunity to do a little bit different type of administration at Iowa State. Um, I came, interviewed, and I really loved the place. And I am here since last 10 years as department chair. And things are going very well. And I think I am finishing my second 5-year term by the end of December 2027. And but before I finish that term, I think you already know that I have accepted to move as Dean of Engineering at Kansas State University. It is again a land grant university in Kansas, very well known for engineering. I will be moving as Dean of Engineering for it's called Carl Ice College of Engineering. So starting August, I will be moving on to uh, next explorations and next opportunities.
So
Uh,
now this is very impressive, and great humility that you possess. It's very enervating. So now the main point, while you are teaching and you are managing both at the same time, what are the things that you're working on, right? For the 10 years, and then another 3.5 years, and then now another going to be 10 years, right? What are the things that Ashfaq Khokhar has done, specifically areas of your interest on the engineering and academic side?
yeah. So I think when you get involved in administration, you have to sacrifice on your research.
Right.
So if you look at my Google profile, uh, at 2017, I was at the peak of the number of citations of my work. They were in thousands
Hmm.
per year. But soon after that, you have to pay the price
Pay the
because you are
price.
no. Iowa State is a large engineering department. It has about close to 70 plus faculty members, and so they hire you to do the administration. So you can't say I'm going to keep continuing doing my research. So I have to sacrifice. So I slowed down my research, and I had more time spent on administration. So before I would get into administration, let me just tell you that I am so humbled and so blessed by the students that I got during my academic career that I got to mentor.
Hmm.
I would say I have close to now 30 plus PhD students that I have mentored as their main advisor.
Hmm.
Close to 50 plus students who I mentored as masters, and equally large number of undergrads that I have mentored as undergraduate research, not teaching, but undergraduate research mentoring. Um, and I would say whatever I have accomplished today, it is because of my collaborators, is because of my students. They really shine out. They look me good. Um, they made me look good. Um, and I think um, we did so many. Once in academia, the beauty is that you can choose the problems that you want to work on. There is, as long as you can demonstrate that, yes, the problem that I'm choosing are of interest to industry, to my peers, and to the funding agencies, you can choose whatever you want. So I have diversified my research portfolio. I started, as I said, parallel architectures and computer vision. I have published in journals on death anxiety.
Mm, mm,
I have published on work on for example, molecular dynamics simulations.
mm,
Even on finite element meshes I had a very good colleague, I think you know him, Arif Masood. Arif
yes.
Masood and I were together faculty at UIC.
Mm,
We published together. We went to Pakistan together to do some sponsor research there as well. So I think career from a research career, I have a very diversified portfolio now.
mm,
As far as 13 and a half years or 14 years of department chairship, it's a different impact, I would
mm,
say.
mm, mm,
I have hired more than half of my faculty here at Iowa State is someone that I have hired them.
mm,
So they are going to define the next 25 years of this particular department.
mm,
So I could say that, in the next 25 years, the hiring decisions that I was asked to make will have some impact on the profile of this particular department.
right.
I have launched new programs, new undergraduate degree programs, new graduate programs. Um, in that process, also, I became president of Electrical and Computer Engineering Department Heads Association that all across the U.S. and Canada. Um, that basically allowed me to interact with all the department chairs, regardless of which university they come from,
Mm,
and had kind of a understanding of what a small public school, a large public school, or a MITs, or Stanfords, or Berkeleys of the world universe, how they are thinking, what their problems are. So I think it gives me a very good exposure to, in general, landscape of electrical and computer engineering in that particular position.
excellent.
Moving forward, as a dean, I will no longer be looking just on in electrical and computer engineering.
Mm,
The college consists of about 8 or 9 departments: um, electrical engineering, computer engineering, mechanical engineering, nuclear, civil, architecture. So all engineerings are going to be under the dean supervision, our dean leadership. And the impact is going to be now even broader
mm,
because our research are becoming much more interdisciplinary. Our education curricula is becoming more interdisciplinary. So I think I will have a chance to impact engineering at large in a very different way in my next role. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, knows what is there for me in the next 10 years or 5 years and where I will be. But I'm very excited to be offered that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to joining them.
excellent. Wonderful. So great career, continuing
Yep.
and thriving, which is great. And all three dimensions of it, right? Actual personal research, mentoring, driving others into success, and having a connection with them. And then obviously driving academic alignments across the spectrum. So wonderful. What we have to see beyond that is, since you have all those areas of understanding and influence, now let's start talking about a little bit to the young people that listen to this and the young people at UET Lahore or other young people, doesn't matter where they are. Um, because of your academic background, because of your leadership in academia, as well as your personal research and stuff, I want to understand how you see uh, overall, and I think you've also worked with students as well as faculty at UET as well. So
Yep.
let's try to get there and try to peel the onion a little bit and understand A, where things are, B, how do we progress, C, what are the messages for the young people in that train.
Yeah, I think from the get-go, my first message to not to UET, but to in general,
Mhm.
to all my fellow, brothers and sisters and sons and daughters in Pakistan, um, is that there is no shortcut to success. You will have to work hard. There is no way that you can assume that you will be successful unless you put in the time. And time and again, I have seen, not very prevalent, but in many cases, I've seen that students come from Pakistan, they want to be very quick and successful immediately.
Mm.
And whether they want to pursue an academic career or whether they want to pursue an industry career, they want to be successful immediately. The second thing is that, I have told this to all of my students, and I would say out of the 30 students that I have graduated under as PhDs, at least half of them were from Pakistan. Um, and I have told them that you should not be bounded by the geographical region to pursue excellence. No matter where the excellence takes you, go there.
Mm.
You don't have to settle on a mediocre job in the US just because you want to get a green card or you want to get just go wherever excellence is, and you will find that other opportunities will come along. Whether you want to come back to the US or whether you come back to other parts of the country, are and eat back in Pakistan. If you are excellent, you will be getting a lot of opportunities. So focus on excellence. That would be my first message to the young generation. The second is that to my message to our alma mater, um, that in this today's world of generative AI and all the other innovations that are happening, the curricula is no longer afford to be stagnant. When this revolution was not there, we could see that whatever you and I studied in electronics, 20 years or 25 years down the road, the same books, same methodologies were being used.
Mhm.
But that is not going to be the case now. Our curricula need to really, innovate and adapt at a very fast pace. That means the cycle of revision into curricula has to be much, much faster. And that means what needs to be taught and how to teach it also. And that how to teach is becoming even more important. You and I graduated, we were used to writing things down.
Mm.
There were no YouTube lectures.
Right.
There were no such social media platforms that we could use. But today, this generation, this Gen Z or the next generation, are very different. Their way of learnings are very different. Their way of digesting information are very different. But if we keep on teaching them the same way, the same content, we are going to lose them.
Mm.
So I would say message to the UET and to all the other academia, and even my here at Iowa State and other places, I've been telling them that we need to continuously adapt and innovate in this research, in this instruction, what to instruct and how to instruct. So that is my second message. And I think the third thing is also the vanilla kind of degree programs may not be attractive to the next generation of students. So vanilla electrical engineering degree, vanilla computer engineering degree, or civil engineering, or you may have to create more diverse pathways and make degree programs such that the students have the ability to choose any particular direction within these general disciplines. So I would say that's again an onus on the administration. How do they make sure that they are relevant? They are one of the premier engineering institutions in Pakistan by the virtue that they are in a constant cycle of innovation. So that's as far as the academics are concerned. I think in research, we are seeing some progress in Pakistan in terms of research publications or research innovations coming out. But my main problem that I see is that when you ask a teacher or a professor to teach 2-3 courses a semester, then you cannot expect them to be equally prolific in research. So then they become more like a teaching faculty. And what I'm seeing in UETs and other places in Pakistan is, and some places are realizing that, but some places are not, that they still give this much of teaching load to faculty, but then they are also expecting that they should be publishing in top tier journals and forums, and those are not going to be. These are two different, opposing kind of endeavors. So I would say that if you want to be serious in research, create environments where faculty and students have the ability to put time and effort into that research and produce quality research output. I can tell you that UET is still as full of raw talent. People come into UET with some of the best performances in their pre-UET careers in terms of FSC or metric exams or A levels or O levels. So raw talent is there, and if you can really channel that talent, there is no match to that raw talent compared to private schools or schools that have more selectivity in terms of who can be admitted, who can afford to come to that particular school, and so on and so forth. So UET has a huge advantage, and we should take it. We should really make sure that we take full advantage of that particular opportunity.
Wonderful. So now let me sort of parse that into a couple of more things, right? Both from the matter of the fundamentals that, and we've talked about this, so it's not something new, but I think it's good for us to talk about it for the audience. When young people come into an institution, the ability or the capability is there, right? To draw talent, as you said. Having value of fundamentals or basics, which are up to a certain level in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry, as a baseline to start then building on top of that foundation, is essential.
Yep.
And I think I wanted to get your feedback for those people to try to understand. In general, when we went to school, there are 4 years of math classes. So we have 4 math, 101, 201, 301, 401, right?
Yeah.
Through our undergraduate degree. And those are great. But if they had a baseline which was high and then build on top of it, that basically becomes much stronger building. So please
I think
elucidate.
a very good point, Vikas. I think we should have talked about it earlier also. Math in engineering, particularly in electrical and computer engineering, and in general for all engineering, math, physics, and chemistry are very important 3 basic science subjects that really prepare you well for engineering disciplines. Depending on which discipline you're going, application of physics and chemistry are going to be maybe a little bit different in terms of intensity. But math And these other disciplines are very important. And if you can learn these disciplines with the notion of how they are going to be applied in engineering, you will be very successful in the corresponding discipline. So, for example, people say electrical engineering is nothing but applied physics and math. And if you are good in understanding how math and physics is being applied in this discipline of electrical engineering, it will become very easy for you as you move forward. So I think spending time on understanding, I still remember you and I studied math, Laplace transform and Fourier transform, and I still don't recall any instance where we were shown the applications of Laplace transform as to how and why it should be applied in what particular situations. We were good in applying the formulas, but
Yes.
when it comes to which particular application it should be applied to, what kind of signal should it be applied to, what it does it do to the signal, and it was later on that I realized, oh my God, Fourier transform is nothing but just, sum of sinusoidals applied to represent a particular signal. Uh, but I think that basic understanding of this math and how it is applied is going to be very um, useful for our young generation. And these days, they don't have to really go back to the instructor to ask for these things. YouTube and other online, contents are so full of explaining these concepts in all different forms and graphs and pictures and videos that I wish I had gone, I could go back and redo my undergrad with these aids and tools available to me to understand. I think I'll be a very different engineer today if I
Mhm.
had if I'd been exposed. So I would say, um, yes, these social medias are sometimes harmful, but they have so much of useful information as well. And our young kids should really take advantage of that and build their fundamentals. Once their fundamentals are good in terms of math, physics, chemistry, I can tell you almost any subject will be very, very easy for them in our disciplines. And they will be welcome. On top of that, I should not shy away from saying that they need to be very conversant in whatever the modern tools are being used in industry and academia, whether it's programming language like Python or object-oriented languages or development tools, because the word is no longer unipolar kind of an academic word. um, you have to be very sharp in these other tools, and that's where I think UET, in my experience, really need to invest more resources in preparing our students so that they are competitive when they come out here, uh, compared to students coming from Turkey, from China, from India, from Iran, and Europe. I think that's where we need to really put an effort and make sure that our students do not left behind.
Excellent. Um, so now, one other element. So if somebody is from a small town, he's gone, you know, done his undergraduate degree at UET or whichever university in Pakistan. There's 270 of them, um, and now they're thinking about their future. Now you've worked in American academia for all these years. Um, how do they think about going to America or to Australia or wherever they want to go and study? And what are the things that they should keep front of mind when they do, besides the context awareness that we talked about, which is
Yep.
an excellent thing for them to learn for their lives, not just for academia, but for academic stuff or going to industry after they come to America, for example, and do their master's or do their PhD. What are the things that they should be looking at?
So I think first thing is that they should do their homework. One, I can tell you that any professor, whether it's me from a Pakistani background or any professor who is from a different background, Chinese, American, or Indian background professors. Every professor is really looking for talented students. There is hardly, I would say, yes, of course, bias is there. If I have to look for talented students, where would I go? I would go to the place where I know, how things work. So I come to UET, I come to NUST, I come to LUMS, so on and so forth, and NED. But regardless of that, there will be still a lot of other, openings where you would find professors are really looking for great talent, and they will be welcoming students from any background. So if you want to present yourself to a professor for admission, master's program, or PhD program, make sure that you shine to that professor as if as per his or her needs. And when I say that, when somebody writes me, just to give you an example, when somebody writes me an email and says, Dr. Khokhar, I am a UET student, and I am really interested in power systems and energy systems research. Could you please give me an opportunity with you to do this research and PhD under your supervision? Guess what will be my answer, or what will be my response?
Mm.
That person has not even looked at my profile.
Right.
I have nothing to do with power systems. Yes, in
Yeah.
my department, I have a lot of research in power systems. So when you approach a professor, make sure that you have read that professor's work. And when you talk to that professor, write an email, express your interest as if you have really gone through each and every recent publication, and you are aligning yourself to that particular interest. If you have aligned yourself to that interest, I can bet you that your chances of getting a response from that professor are going to be significantly increased. Again, I cannot say that you will get a response but the chances are going to be significantly increased. So that means doing your homework, making sure yourself that the area that you want to get into, you have expressed interest and you have done some reading. And I think that same would apply. I have not worked in the US industry, but I interact with industry on a regular basis. Same thing is here. When you are interviewing with a manager, I'm pretty sure if you don't correspond to the need of that particular manager, what kind of person they are looking for, you will have a less chance to be successful in getting hired. So I would say my main message to anybody who's like me from a background of a small town in Pakistan, um, I can tell you that you could be successful regardless of where you come from. But all along this journey, there should be some mentoring that needs to be done. And we got mentored by our professors at UET, and same thing is happening now. And now in the form of this UET Alumni Foundation that we have, I think uh, there are more mentoring opportunities, there are more mentoring possibilities for students to be prepared. And I hope that this will increase awareness among students as to how to pursue higher education, how to pursue industry outside of Pakistan.
Excellent. Ashfaq, this is a very, very good inputs and ideas and perspectives and insights that I'm sure our young people will get a lot of mileage from. So I thank you for your time, and I want to also let people know that our TechCast 8 will be on 6th of May, and Mr. Rana Imtiaz, who is a founder of a private equity entity uh, in New York, will be our next guest. And I also want to emphasize that please subscribe to the ULEFUSA TechCast channel on social media, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And as always, I end with a शेर. And आज के जो शायर हैं वो जनाब कतील शिफाई हैं, और उनका शेर जो है, करना है जो मार्का ज़ीस्त तो सुन ले, करना है तो जो मार्का ज़ीस्त तो सुन ले, बेबाजुए हैदर दरे खैबर नहीं गिरता. With that, I
Very,
bid
very
you adieu.
relevant.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vikas, for the opportunity. And again, I would say to your audience, please feel free to reach out to me or to other academicians of Pakistani origin. But relay the context in which you are reaching out, and hopefully we will respond and help you and guide you if needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Excellent. चलो जी, well done. We'll follow up.
माशाल्लाह, वेल डन जी,
हैं, अच्छा हो गया.
बहुत अच्छा हो गया जी.